Ayesha Hussien and I'm a 13-year-old Pakistani.
And my name is Ayesha Hussien and I'm a 14-year-old Sudani.
The reason why we chose this topic is because both our home countries are suffering from the same problem, water scarcity.
When we looked deeper into the problem, we found out that Ethiopia suffers on a larger scale.
Ethiopia has been suffering for this issue for the past 60 to 70 years, but no one realized it was an issue until the drought that hit in 1980.
This drought was the most severe drought that the Ethiopians had ever faced.
Ethiopia went through many terrible droughts, but the one that hit in the 80s impacted the land of Ethiopia, causing the water crisis to be much more of an issue than it already was.
The lack of schooling is more rampant in women than men due to gender discrimination.
Most girls are forced to quit school as they're expected to walk miles and fetch water for the family, cook food, and fulfill other household chores.
Studies show that girls are not able to finish school with the lack of water in schools and have to drop out before hitting the age of puberty. The United Nations estimates that the sub-Saharan African region alone loses 40 billion hours per year collecting water.
There's a general consensus that women are not treated equally to men in Ethiopia because women are the ones who have to travel up to 6 hours every day to fetch water for their family and aren't able to complete school, thus being treated unfairly in the economy. By helping gender equality in Africa, it will help the women as they spend about 6 hours of their day searching for water, which leads to skin-borne diseases and other illnesses. For an average woman in their life in Ethiopia, they will spend about 40 billion hours of searching for water.
The government isn't at all helping with this issue, for they have rejected all the offers from the nonprofit organizations and decided to take matters into their own hands.
All the negative attention towards the country and the increasing crisis has made the issue worse because the Ethiopians lack the knowledge to harvest the water that they have. There are many nonprofit organizations which are trying to help out Ethiopia's problem, but unless the government grants access to these organizations to help out the country, there will be no difference made.
The only way the government would be able to resolve this issue without the help of nonprofit organizations is if they gain the knowledge of rainwater harvesting. One of the main outcomes of the water crisis is the dropping education rate.
In the schools they lack of hygiene and basic facilities, and we all know lack of education has a long-term negative impact on the society.
For example, increased crime rate, unemployment, slower GDP growth rate, all leading to a poor economy.
On an individual level, it will lead to lower income, lower self-esteem, and poor quality of life. And lack of water begins to impact very big issues. Worldwide food shortage, some causes to water scarcity is drought, poverty, climate change.
Water scarcity alone affects about 1.9 billion people in the world.
There are many reasons that portray water scarcity.
Some of them being overuse of water, pollution of water, droughts, lack of access to water, which includes poverty or distance to fetch water, and one of the last things being governmental access.
Governmental access leads to water scarcity in about 20 countries excluding Ethiopia.
Droughts aren't the only thing in Ethiopia that cause water scarcity.
Based on our research, we found 5 ways to improve water sanitation and hygiene. On average, a human needs about 5 to 13 gallons of water. 2.5 billion people have no lack of water, sanitation, and hygiene, all because of water scarcity issue. If everyone has access to clean water, there'd be 25% less deaths due to water-related diseases, and clean sanitation, there would be 37% less deaths due to water-related diseases.
On a separate note, the world suffers from 3 different types of water scarcity. Firstly, water shortage, and this may be caused by climate change, droughts, floods, etc. Increase of pollution, overuse of water, unnecessary use of water, and another one, water crisis. It's when there's less water than a region needs, and depletion of resources to harvest water. And lastly, water stress is the difficulty in obtaining water and may result in decline of available water resources. Each of these affecting the world significantly and have their own impact on many countries in the world. Some reliable water resources that will soon fail in the future, such as glaciers, which are a vital water source and they can contribute to stream flow, and they're a good resource for water, but the rise in global temperature will affect the glaciers and cause them to melt, and the disappearance of glaciers will future affect available water resources, and the reason why they will melt in the future due to the rise in global warming. And another one being groundwater, which are aquifers, and they are water that has pooled below the surface of the earth and can provide a usable quantity of water through springs or wells. They are a reliable source, but they are set to fail due to global warming. Another way we could help resolve the water scarcity issue is by reducing pollution. In the world, 300 to 400 tons of waste is dumped into the waters each year. 90% of this wastewater flows untreated into lakes, rivers, and high productive coastal zones, threatening health, food security, and access to safe drinking water. If they reduce water pollution, there will be 20% more clean water to drink.
If we fix all these problems, the death rate will slowly decrease with the increase of fresh and sanitized water. The only way this will happen is if the Ethiopian and countries with other governments not helping will change their chain of thought.
45 other countries are facing the same problem. As Ethiopia, there has been 500 million deaths due to water scarcity in the past 2 years.
There are many ways we can prevent this, but the only way is if everyone goes the helping hand.
By reducing death and disease, we would be avoiding 30,000 deaths each week due to water-related disease. If the people were to experiment on the water before they collect it and using it, then the 88% of diarrheal deaths caused by water-related diseases would decrease significantly. And with the 276 river basins in the world and 18 countries sharing one, including Ethiopia, that could result in a future plague for water-based purposes. Thank you for listening.